So you saved your money and you're so excited about going on your cruise, only to find out that there are all these additional fees that are blowing your budget. So you're excited, you found a cruise that fits your budget. The advertised cruise price was, let's say, I don't know, $650 per person for a 7-night cruise. Sounds wonderful, and you need a vacation. But you know the saying, if it's too good to be true, probably is. So before you tell friends and family about the cruise that you're going to take or where you're taking them, let's talk about what you get for that advertised price and what additional charges that might creep in that you're not aware of. In general, most of what I'm going to discuss is true across the board for all major cruise lines. There are always exceptions, so check with your travel agent or call your cruise line just to confirm the pricing. So the advertised price is what I call the basic cruise fare. So it's going to cover things like your cruise cabin, food, like your main dining room, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's going to cover the buffets and those grab and go food stations like pizza, Mexican, burgers, things like that each cruise line has a little different variety there. It's going to cover your water, iced tea, milk, coffee, juices, so basic drinks. It's going to cover entertainment. So all of the shows that you see on board, like the Broadway type shows or the shows that are put on by the cruise staff that they created themselves, the fun game shows like Family Feud or Married, I almost said Married with Children, not Married with Children, the Love and Marriage game show. That's what I'm trying to think about. And the really fun Quest game show that Royal Caribbean started. Now I think Carnival has adapted something similar. You get all your pools, hot tubs, pool chairs. You don't have to pay for the pool chairs, water slides, the kids club, and so on. So it does vary by cruise line and by ship. For example, not all cruise ships have water slides. So do your homework. And you're here because you're doing your homework. So that's a good thing. Most importantly, what are those additional charges, those hidden charges that can just blow your cruise budget right out of the water? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to try to help you decide if you need it or ways to avoid it. So let's get started. So what's not included? The first thing that you're going to notice right up front when you book your cruise, if you look at that invoice, it's probably a couple $100 more per person than that advertised price. And the reason for that is because that advertised price doesn't always include your taxes, your fees, and your port charges. So the taxes, fees, and port charges, that covers charges that the cruise line is getting hit with from those countries or the town or the port. And they pass that on to you guys. So the ship's not going to pay it, but their passengers are going to pay it. Unfortunately, this is something that you must pay. Unless your ship happens to miss one of these ports for some reason, whether maybe bad weather, there's a lot of reasons maybe you're going to miss a port. But if you do miss a port, then they do refund you the money for those port charges. The other thing that you want to keep in mind that is going to be an additional cost for you with this vacation is transportation. Whether it's flights, hotels, parking, shuttles to and from the cruise port, all of those things add up, especially if it's a family of 4. So here's the thing. If you live close enough to a cruise port, consider driving. This is going to save you the cost of airfare and all those extra luggage charges that you might get because you brought too much or your luggage is too heavy, because that happens to me sometimes. I'm sitting there repacking in the middle of the airport. Try to avoid airlines if at all possible. And depending on how far away you live from that port, if you can drive, consider having somebody take you and drop you off and pick you up when you're done. It's absolutely the best. I've actually just done that on a past cruise of mine where my friend's husband, he took us and dropped us off and he picked us up. So we didn't have to worry about any extra charges there. That was great. But just, figure that out. You do always want to get a hotel, just as a reminder, if you're flying in for your cruise someplace, get the hotel the night before. Never, ever fly in the same day your cruise is going, because something's going to happen. Your flight's going to be delayed. Your flight could be canceled. There could be bad weather. All kinds of stuff can happen there. So just get in there the day before so you can just relax and get ready to get up the next morning and head on over to the cruise port. So another thing that can add some money onto that initial cruise price is travel protection and travel insurance. All cruise lines will offer their own travel protection, or you can go shopping around and get some travel protection from other companies, other independent companies. I get it from the cruise line, but I have been looking into getting it from other companies because I travel more frequently now. But you can expect, depending on how long your cruise is, to pay anywhere from roughly like $80 to $150, depending, maybe more, for that travel protection, and that's per person. It's not per day though, it's just for the entire trip. That's going to cover you in case of an accident, in case of any type of medical emergency that you have, in case you get sick and can't go on your cruise. There's all kinds of stuff that covers, and trust me, you want to be covered. I have seen it too many times where people didn't get the travel protection and something happened to either them or somebody they were with, and they had to go down to the hospital, I call it the hospital, the medical facility on the ship, and get treated by their doctors, and your insurance that you have at home from your medical company does not work on a cruise ship. So you want to make sure that you're covered, because it's just like going to a hospital without insurance, right? It's super expensive. So that's another cost that you want to make sure that you are accounting for. The internet. I just did this huge video on how to make calls at sea. So if you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and check it out. It's going to give you a lot of tips, a lot of tricks on how to save money on the internet. But it's just something else that some people that have never cruised don't realize, that once you get on your cruise, you can't use your phone. You can't just surf the web like you do at home. So if it's something that you have to do, if it's something that you enjoy doing all the time, then you're going to need to pay for an internet plan. And depending on your cruise line, that can vary from $15 per person per day, all the way up to, $22, $23, even more per person per day. So you want to put that down on your list as something to look into. Let's go back and talk about drinks. So we covered all those drinks that are included, the basic drinks, but you want soda, you want alcohol, you want bottled water instead of just the water out of their machine. You want a smoothie in the morning from the spa. You want milkshakes, cocktails, beer, all of it. It's not included. Not always. So if you're on one of these cruises that it's not included in and you have to buy their drink package, that's pricey. So look for sales, especially around Black Friday. They have a lot of sales with their drink packages and some of the other things that they offer before you head on your cruise. That's the best time to buy it. And also keep an eye out on those prices, because if they tend to go down, most cruise lines will let you cancel and repurchase at that lower price. So consider the prices. A lot of the cruise lines have specific packages for someone who just, let's say, wants coffee, specialty coffee, or somebody that likes soda, and that's all you drink is you got to have your Diet Coke every day, right? So you want to get your Diet Coke every day. Instead of paying per drink, you can get the drink package for your soda. If you know you're going to be drinking a lot, cocktails, frozen cocktails while you're laying by the pool, consider how much you're going to drink and go ahead and look into that price. Specialty dining. They have these great venues on board, but they cost extra. So if you want to go to that steakhouse, or you want to go to that, luxury chef's table, or Wonderland, for example, they have all kinds of specialty dining restaurants. They have sushi restaurants, and they have Japanese steakhouses. They have all kinds of stuff on these ships. It's not going to be included in your general fare, so it's going to cost you extra per person. And yes, you can buy it when you get on the cruise if you want. It's going to cost you a little more than if you buy it ahead of time, but it's going to cost more. So if these are things that you enjoy, these are things that you want to take your family to, and just know that you're going to have to add that into your overall budget. I cruised probably for, I don't know, 20 years before I ever paid for dining. I just always went to the main dining room. I loved it. I ate what was free on the ship. I didn't pay for any extras. There's nothing wrong with not paying for those extra things. Now, as I cruised so frequently, I wanted a little more variety. Then I started trying some of the specialty restaurants, and they're great. I mean, they're totally worth the money if you have it in your budget. So don't break your budget to go there, but if it's in your budget, maybe go to one. Treat yourself. Maybe it's a special occasion. Go ahead and do it. Try it out. But you don't have to do it on every cruise all the time. Just a side note on that, lately Carnival and Royal Caribbean now charge for some higher end menu options, if you will. So if you want to get a filet mignon, for example, or you want to have lobster or the combo surf and turf, you can get it in their main dining room without going to a specialty restaurant, but they will charge you an upcharge. They're just added to your account on board, so it's not, you don't need to have cash at the restaurant or anything like that, but it can vary from $17 to well over $30. Princess also turns their free buffet area into a crab shack experience, and they will serve snow crabs and jumbo shrimp, clams, mussels, but it does come with a price tag. Here's one that I knew about, but I didn't know how strict they were until I just experienced this on my last sailing. The uncorking fee. So a lot of cruise lines will let you bring a bottle of wine per person. Check into your cruise line and make sure, what their strict guidelines are, but they let you bring some wine on board with you. I knew there would be an uncorking fee. I figured it was like $10, maybe $5 to be able to do that. Well, we were at our dining table one night, and we shared a table with other people, and one of the other couples brought wine to the table to share with all of us, which was great. And they came over, they uncorked it for him, poured it for all of us. We had a great time. So I told them, I said, oh, thank you. I also brought wine. If you guys like this type of wine, I'll bring it tomorrow night for dinner, and we can all share that. So the next night I brought my wine, had it sitting on the table, and our dining staff member came over and he said, well, there's an uncorking fee. I said, I realized that. I said, well, how much is it? And he said, it was like $20. Like, what? $20? I think I didn't pay that much for the wine. I didn't buy expensive wine to bring. It was just your basic, I think it was a Moscato, coconut or something like that. I said, no, never mind. I said, I have my own cork in the room. If I step out of the dining room, can I just uncork it myself and bring it back in? He said, no. So they won't even let you uncork it and bring it in. I said, well, our table mate got to do this last night. He said, well, that was because he purchased the wine, or the wine was gifted to him by the cruise line. So if you get your wine from the cruise line, they will uncork it. But if you bring your own wine, they're not doing it without a hefty price tag. So just remember that bringing that alcohol on board is great. Just do it in your room, or meet in a lounge or something outside and do it, but you're not going to be able to do it in the dining room. And just so you all know, that was a Carnival cruise that happened to me on. So if other cruise lines do it a little differently, let me know. I'd be interested in knowing how they work that out. That was the first time I actually brought wine with me, so I never tried it before. Escape rooms, roller coasters, all of those other really cool things on the ship that you see on those commercials, make sure you don't get charged for those. Many of those things come with an extra price. Norwegian Encore has a go-kart track, for example, and that'll set you back about $15 for a single ride. I think you get 8 laps around. They do have a package that you can purchase that gives you more. They also have laser tags. Sometimes that's like $10 for 5 minutes. In both cases, it's probably worth it to buy a week-long pass, especially if you have kids. Those kids, once they see it, they're going to want it. So just buy it ahead of time and save yourself some money, but factor that into your budget. Royal Caribbean, for example, they have the iFly, which is like skydiving, and your first time is free, but then you have to pay each additional time that you do it. They have that big arm that comes up, the Sky, I think it's called the Sky. I'm not real sure what it's called, but it allows you to go way up over the ship, and it extends out over the ocean, and it gives you this bird's eye view of everything. It's absolutely amazing. It's on the Quantum class ships. I've been on it, and at first it was free all the time. Now it sounds like they're charging you if you do it during a sea day. If you do it during a port day, then it's free. So check into that. These prices keep changing all the time. It's really hard to keep up with what's free and what's not free. But before you purchase your cruise, decide what it is that you really want to do and see how much extra it might be. Embarkation day. So you bought the cruise. You're going on your cruise. You're excited. Just know that your cruise line is going to hold $100 to $200 on your credit card based on your sailing, based on how long your sailing is. And it does vary by cruise line. Some only hold like an initial amount, maybe $100 for the whole time. Others will hold an initial amount, and then based on how much you're spending on your SeaPass card or your account on board, they will keep holding additional amounts. And when you disembark, if you look at your statement from your bank, you're going to see all these charges that are pending. Give it a few days. Once your sign and sail card or your SeaPass card, or depending on your cruise line, they call it something different, your onboard account is settled, those pending charges will drop. But it can be a little worrisome when you first look at your statement and you're like, I didn't spend $300, I didn't spend $200. Just know that that's what it is. Spa treatments on board, they're all extra. They will charge you for everything. So if you get a massage, you're going to pay. And then after you get your massage, they're going to try to sell you every product they have for skincare. So yes, just say no. But it is a heavy sales pitch in the spa area, just so you know. Shore excursions. If you want to go on a hike, if you want to see around the town, if you want to go to a private beach, whatever it is that you want to do in that port, you want to go see the sloths, you want to go zip lining, all of that will cost you extra money, and it's not included in your cruise fare. Royal Caribbean has private island. It is included in your cruise fare, but once you get on the island, there are certain things that do cost extra, like the water parks, the adult-only area. They have a small zip line. They have a balloon that goes up. All of that stuff costs extra money. Okay? You can do a lot free on CocoCay, but there is a lot that you need to pay for. Other cruise lines have private islands, and I found that they don't have as much free there. So just check into it. See what it is that you want to do on your vacation, because that initial price that they're advertising starts here, and by the time you're done, ends up here. Room service. Most cruise lines will charge you for room service. Some of them charge you an initial fee. For example, you might pay $7.95, but it's all you can eat. So you're going to pay for that per call. Per call. So I always say the food, they have so much food on these cruise ships, is probably only one flight up or one flight down from your cabin. If you're hungry, just go get it. There's always something open, usually 24 hours on your ship. I get it though. Sometimes you get in there and in your room and you're comfy and you're in your jammies. You just want something delivered. So just know it's like $7.95. I think Norwegian is $9.95. Convenience charge. Celebrity also around $9.95. Royal is $7.95. It's fine, because if you're ordering for multiple people, it's really not that expensive. And then I usually give them $1 or $2 tip for the person that comes in. But remember, they also put an 18% gratuity charge on top of that. They put that on it, just about everything that you're buying on the ship. So you're going to get hit with those higher end gratuities, because that's how the staff is making a lot of their money. And I understand that, but just be prepared for that. Dry cleaning, getting your clothes washed, laundry service. I always bring more than enough clothes. So if something gets spilled down my dress or down my top, I have something else to wear. I'm good. I understand that stuff happens and you want to get your clothes cleaned, or some people even like to just have all their clothes done towards the end of their sailing. So when they get home, that's one less thing they've got to worry about when they get home. But it's not free. It is pretty expensive. Some cruise lines have a bag, and it's like one price for everything that you can fit into that bag to get it cleaned. If you're trying to get a dress pressed or a suit pressed for fancy night or elegant evening, whatever they're calling it on your ship now, that's a little more than what you would pay at home. So you can factor that in if that's what you need to do. I know a tip for that is people bring the little tiny bottles of detergent or the Tide Pods, and they fill up their sink, and they actually wash their clothes in their sink. And then most of the cruise ships, in your shower, they have a clothesline that goes across the shower. You don't see it because it's hidden. So if you've never looked for it, you might be missing it. But it looks like a little metal notch, and if you pull it out, it stretches out and it clips onto the other side. You can hang your clothes there, or if you have a balcony, I always hang my clothes or my wet bathing suits over my chair out on my balcony, as long as it's not a windy day, and everything dries up great there. So consider doing some of those minor things in your own room. Some other ways that you can combat these additional charges is to leverage your onboard credit that you get. So depending on how you booked your cruise, you've been offered credit of some kind through your travel agent. Maybe the cruise line said, hey, we're going to give you $100 onboard credit. So you can take that $100 onboard credit and apply it to a specialty dining one night. You could put it towards the internet package. You could put it towards your drink package, all of those things. So use that to your benefit. You don't have to wait until you get on the ship to use your onboard credit. You see something on sale now before you leave, you can use that onboard credit now and apply it towards whatever it is that you want. The other thing that you can do to help bring down that cost a little bit is sign up for the cruise ship's loyalty programs. The more you sail, the more discounts you're going to receive. You're going to receive discounts off your cabin, drink packages, internet. Sometimes you get free laundry service. All of these things come with these loyalty plans. So the more you cruise, the more coupons and discounts that you're going to get. So to me, cruising is still a great bang for your buck. I mean, you get your room, transportation, food and drinks, entertainment, it's all included. So sure, you can also go overboard with the extras, but decide up front, what are your must-haves? And then pick maybe one or two extras. Save the other stuff for your next cruise. You need to have something to look forward to, right? Another reason to take another cruise. You don't need to try to do it all in one time. So until then, happy sailing, enjoy your cruise.